Drop a bomb now.
All right. Hey, and just like that, we are back. We figured it out. We figured out all the secrets to the interwebs in here, didn't we, Chad?
Yeah, sure.
Hey, everybody. Well, you've tuned into This Pink Cloud. We are a show that is all about recovery, multiple pathways, and all that kind of good stuff. So, Chad, how have you been, my man? I've been good. You've been good, dude. I like it. We've been working on some new characters. Oh, yeah, I forgot to intro myself. I'm DJ Kelly Reverb. I am an RSPS, which means absolutely nothing. No, actually, it's a recovery support peer specialist. So awesome. It is street cred there. Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Hey, but I am excited to have these people in the building. I guess you and I probably knew each other from a long, long time ago, correct?
Probably back in the rave days.
Yeah. What they say, the 90s?
The 90s, yeah, exactly. We have some mutual friends back in the day.
Right.
Clay Acklin, you know Clay.
Oh, yeah, I love Clay. You know, I actually talk to Clay all the time on Instagram because he is a Facebook hater. So,
yeah. He really is. He got off of there, so, you know, and I like his impressions of particular political, like, aspiring people.
Yeah, Clay is a character for sure. And a lovable guy.
Absolutely.
Good people. Good people. Well, hey, I'm going to go down the row just so I can get everybody in, and then we'll talk about your story and then about what you have going on, because I am very excited about what you have going on.
Absolutely.
Okay, so here we have Reed Robinson, and then we say his partner / better half / business partner, Julie Robinson.
Hello.
Okay. And then down at the very end, last but not least, with all the non-alcoholic spirits that you desire, Andrea Benningfield.
Benningfield.
I got it.
Yeah.
Because,
That's
there's a singer, Natasha Benningfield, right? Anybody?
Yeah.
Right.
Sure.
Whatever.
Yeah.
But so anyway, so I went down to your spot.
Right.
And you're actually doing a spot called Beyond the Bar Bottle Company.
Bottle
shop.
Right.
And basically, it is a non-alcoholic spirit shop.
Spirit shop and a little bit of event space. So we're doing, we're going to have a lot of SKUs, a lot of product. We can come in and get non-alcoholic beverages. Some of them taste like a little bit like alcohol. Some are reminiscent of it. We're going to have non-alcoholic beers, non-alcoholic wines, and then we have things that are not at all like alcohol. They're like the adaptogens and cool drinks that are away from that.
Right. So it's kind of like that, you can still be a wine snob without the wine.
Exactly.
Basically.
Exactly. So if you had that lifestyle before, like...
Well, you were saying something about that,
right.
About how you were at AAC, at American Airlines Center, and, watching Brian Ferry, and you're like... This is bullshit, man. I got like a Diet Pepsi.
Yeah, so it's like, Brian, it's like their final tour. We're with a bunch of friends. We're hanging out. Everybody's having these fantastic cocktails. They got at different bars around American Airlines Center. And even at the thing, you can get a beer, you can get whatever. And I'm drinking a fucking Diet Pepsi. It's really uncool. And that made me feel really isolated. I already kind of felt like that a little bit, after I stopped quite a ways before that. But there's always this feeling of kind of being left out.
Right.
And I think that, in recovery and when you're getting off the sauce, it's different. It makes it a little bit weird to like.
Well, I know we've got some stuff to sample, which we'll do later.
Sure.
But let's go ahead, because I always like to get the guest backstory of how it came about, and where your story went off the wheels, so to say.
So we've owned bars and restaurants for many years. I was in the events business for a long time. I was in the arts, DJ'd a little bit, worked in radio for a while. So all of those things there are a lot of habits there. As you go to every event you go to, it's all about drinking.
Right. Well, I always say it's a workplace hazard.
It's a workplace hazard. Yeah. Exactly. So everything you do and you're a part of, it's like alcohol is part of that mix.
Right.
And especially North Texas, it's a really boozy place. I mean, maybe other places are like that too, but I really feel like
I think everywhere is a really boozy place, to be honest.
So it's like there's this culture that you have to like be a part of just to be in service and around your peers.
Right.
You know, and I think, and then you get to that point where, especially as a bar owner, a bar and restaurant owner, we were getting a lot of people like, you know, why are you not drinking? La la la. And so that's when I really started to discover the non-alcoholic beers, you know, and just going, wow, these are great. Started seeing that. We actually introduced a few to our bar that we had. We sold it last year. We can talk more about that later.
Sure.
But I noticed that people were, you know, the SKUs were going out. People were actually buying them, and they would see me drinking them. And then also having a beer in my hand.
Right.
Also kept people off your back.
Oh, yeah.
You know.
For sure.
It's like with, you know, so Dean Martin, when you see him on television.
Yeah, it's not really alcohol in there. It's a prop.
It's a prop, you know. So he,
Sure.
you know, I think he didn't possibly drink or whatever, but, you know, so that was always a deal. And, it, you know, like you said, a work hazard. At that point, though, so I was in it for a year without drinking in the bar and restaurant.
Well, I mean, and you go back to the 90s, so it wasn't like it was an overnight thing, like, boom, all of a sudden, Houston, we have a problem. It was like a graduated thing.
It was a graduated thing, I think, as, you know, as we age, our health changes. You know, started having stomach problems over the years. You know, sleep has always been kind of an elusive beast for me, you know, so... You think you drink and you think you're going to sleep better. You don't.
No, not at all.
It's like you don't sleep better. You might fall out. You know.
Yeah, you might black out, but right.
It was just this very elusive thing to me that, you know, and so you would drink and you go, I'm going to sleep. I'm going to feel better, but you don't. You know, and I started to see that compound over the years. You know, and being in bands, being in different, you know, DJ arts events, you know, all the things we were talking about.
Right.
That's just part of the culture.
Yeah, and I mean, at all these events and happenings, you have the green light, full on to drink.
Absolutely. You know, it's weird because I really didn't, like, in my teen years, I really didn't drink until like I was in probably my mid 20s.
Okay.
You know, and then at that point, it's like I like a classy cocktail. You know,
right.
I like the good scotches, I like the things like that. But you know, so it got to a point where you know, I know there's an arc here that we have to go through, but. You know, my mom died in 2021 in the summer. We had just gone through COVID. We had our bars, we had our restaurants, we were doing these drive-ins. A lot of things were happening, but I also saw people going down this really dark path during COVID.
Sure.
You know, you know, alcohol and substance abuse. And I was witnessing my friends and peers and people that we were actually even serving to a certain extent going down this path. And it really it became alarming to me. You know,
right. Well, left to your own devices.
Left to your own devices, right. And so I saw a lot of friends really kind of go down a dark path. And I don't know that everybody's pulled themselves out of it yet.
Right. But, sure. But that's why we're here to talk about it, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, you know, in recovery for me, you know, it was admitting that I had a problem. You know, and getting to that point, and that's really hard to admit that, hey, I need to stop, you know.
Well, what did it look like? I mean, from your perspective and from your perspective, I mean, what did you go, hey, do you think you have a problem here? Or how did that go down?
Well, that's a great question. We did pop-up drive-ins during the pandemic to save our bars. And so we were doing shows every weekend, pretty much. And I don't know, it was, I mean, we were both drinking too much, honestly, at the time. I think everybody was, pretty much. And it was just to the point where he would stay up almost all night because of insomnia. And then we'd have a show the next day or preparation for a show.
And you'd have to drink your way out of it?
Because it takes a whole week, you know, to prepare for a live show with a film. And you have the band element. You have maybe a dance performer or you have a magician or something like that. And then the promotion and marketing of it. So it takes a lot to do that. Yeah. And, you know, I just felt like he was really not feeling well. He was dragging. He had a lot of medical problems. And and then when his mom passed away suddenly, it was kind of like, hey, this is it. This is our one life. And I want you to be here with me and be, you know, present, fully present.
Sure.
Not under, you know, any sort of a haze. And we have a 14-year-old son. And so... you know, it was just really important just to kind of wake up and say, hey, I have some health problems and I need to handle them now.
Well, so the
health problem specifically was diverticulitis. It's a thing where you get like
is it the villi or pili in your intestines?
And your intestines gets
irritated,
and then but it can become deadly at one point. You know? So one of the things that are a cause for that, red meat, alcohol, and a few other like fatty foods, but alcohol is a very big one. That's one of the things that you get rid of that out of your system, and I can say that for a whole lot of health problems that have vanished.
And, like my diabetes,
like your diabetes, for instance. Right. I even at one point, my doctor did my blood work, and he said, you're looking a little pre-diabetic.
You're on your way to the A1C town.
And he was saying, it's not, there's a whole arc, he didn't tell me that necessarily quit drinking, but, it was implied that, cut out a lot of these habits and get rest and get your health together. And a big part of that obviously was the alcohol.
Well, I mean, for me, and what I say, I like that pregame started to happen earlier.
Sure.
And then the boundaries just went out the window, and it was just like, okay, so I start pre-gaming at 3.
Right.
Let's not try to black out by 9 so I can go DJ, and then sober up just enough to drive home, and then start again.
Did you ever feel better when you were drinking and DJing? Did you ever feel like did you ever feel like in your mind, I'm going to be better because I'm going to be more bold?
Well, I mean, it's more, it's definitely that social crutch, like I like to say, but it's that, it takes down the inhibitions. But am I a better DJ when I'm drinking? Jury's out on that one.
Not likely.
I doubt it. Yeah.
No.
That would be a solid.
Jury just came back. No.
Well, actually, Chad would know because Chad actually used to run sound when I was DJing at Sambuca. And then.
When I wasn't shooting up and drinking.
Well, listen to this. Chad was actually shooting up in the bathroom, heroin. He was a H train rider, and then I was trying not to black out at the time, so we were a perfect fit.
Oh, yeah. So you are talking about the McKinney Avenue, Sambuca. So
correct.
Our old band, Shanghai 5, we used to play there all the time.
Okay.
Bill Longhorse, Amy Curnow, and myself. And that's this was back in 2006, I believe, when they opened in 2011. We played all the time there. And I developed a bit of a drinking thing right there because in between we do 3 sets a night.
Yeah.
And then Adam Pickerel was there sometimes. You were there sometimes. This was long. This is a little fuzzy too.
Sure.
And you get your nice bowl of macaroni and cheese, but then you would have like a couple of shots in between sets.
Yeah, of course.
So by the end of the night, you've had a series of 10 cocktails.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And you're not playing better. And I used to think I did, but then I go back and
I rocked. And then you're like,
I really killed that.
Not
once
so
you wake
much.
up in the parking lot.
Yeah. Right.
What a great set that was.
Right. So things were never better. And I really, as I moved forward through all this, I found that things were never better.
Right.
Because I had cocktails.
Well, so you had this wake up call, around the time your mom passing away and all that. But then, what was it that helped you to get sober? I always like to find out what your personal secret sauce was.
Sure.
So to say.
I think partly, I kind of pulled out from society for a couple of, for a month or so, and then and you feel good for a minute. You're like exercising, you kind of get out of your system. Those first 2 or 3 weeks, you're kind of like you have those cravings,
right?
Yeah, those like, oh wow.
Well, and I always tell people you got to really watch that medically. I mean, because you can have some serious repercussions.
Well, and the way I drink though, I wasn't a daily drinker, but when I did, I did.
Right.
And I think a lot of people are like, well, I'm not drinking every day. That doesn't matter, man. I mean, if you're doing it, I would with exuberance.
If you think you have a problem, chances are you do have a problem.
Right.
Right.
Absolutely. But it was enough that it was more days of the week than not. At that point, or it just became an issue. And really, when my mom passed away, we had to deal with a lot of problems. I saw my son more. I started seeing things kind of coming out of this COVID thing. And I saw some things about myself that I just didn't like. And one day, I really did kind of start to replace it, with more liquids, you know, but I did have a sugar craving at first. Then it turned into salt cravings,
right,
and then fat cravings, and then all of those cravings kind of start to subside to a certain extent,
right. And then so you didn't really did you hit the meetings or anything like that?
I did a few meetings. I actually did some counseling.
Okay.
Not necessarily for substance abuse counseling, but some general overall grief counseling.
Right. Yeah.
That we talked about a lot of things. And us big guys, we don't like to go to counseling because that's But anyway, but I've learned a lot since then. And as a family, we did some family counseling to deal with a lot of issues. But I think a lot of substance abuse issues stem with grief.
Yeah.
I
agree.
And pain. And
PTSD and all that.
PTSD, right.
Yeah.
So that, I did quite a bit of counseling. I did hit a few meetings. It were honestly, and I think the 12 steps were fantastic for the for people who need it.
Right.
It just didn't feel right for me.
Right.
Exactly.
Well, and that's what that's why we're multiple pathways. So both Chad and I are a fan of the 12 steps.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I think you can kind of cherry pick and use what I mean, some people that structure works for them,
right?
But for others, like the knowledge is fantastic.
And I read the big book. I go through the book. I did go through the chapters. I went through the parts, but I didn't. Some of it just felt kind of antiquated. That's the only thing I can say about the program.
Well, it was written in 1939, so.
Right, and geared towards men.
Yeah. There is some special verbiage in there that talks about kitchens and stuff like that.
Right. But I think Bill, if he were here now, he would write a pretty cool book. I think it would still be the same message. I think it would still have all of the good things in there that you need. And I did take a lot away from that. So
for sure. Hey, well, let's throw to our sponsor real quick. We have Max the Axe. You got the? Oh, there we go. Lone Star Injury Attorneys. If you go to thispinklawyer.com, that will route you to their website, and he is a personal injury attorney and will get you maximum results. He practices in Texas and California, and Chad, he's an all-around good dude, right?
He is. He's a fantastic dude.
Yeah. I actually met him at an ayahuasca ceremony.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Okay. That's another story. And then our other sponsor is neuroglow.com, and that is NEURO glow.com, and they are located in McKinney and Flower Mound, and they are a ketamine infusion. There you go. Shout out ketamine. But they are ketamine infusion therapy clinic, and they actually microdose ketamine, and they see that it treats PTSD and all the good stuff that we were talking about. So it is definitely, maybe for somebody that's treatment resistant, probably a good idea. And then also, Chad, we have a new song coming out.
We do. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to get the
the JPEG
the video up for this because of technical difficulties.
We'll get it next week. But if they go to beatport.com, they can purchase or stream it on Spotify and all that stuff. But it's Kelly Reverb and Chad Lamons.
Yep.
And the name of the song is called Must Get Burned.
Yep.
We never give ourselves a plug, so there we go.
Well,
we deserve that plug.
So can we drop this in post, maybe?
Yeah, maybe. Right.
I'll put it at I can do it as like the outro or something.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
It's my favorite new song.
Is it? There you go.
Yes. Life-changing.
Love it. You're good. Hey, so
that audiobook voice too.
I know. I like that.
It's the best new song I think I've ever heard.
It's the best new song of
Welcome
the year.
to Delicious
Oh
Dish.
my God.
Oh God. See?
Dude.
Yeah, she's good. You're hired. If I do an audiobook.
Seriously.
Yeah.
You've got the voice for it. I would listen to that all day. That's
Awesome,
crazy.
Thanks.
But so basically then you're out at a concert and you get inspired by the lack of choices that they have. They maybe have like an O'Doul's and that's about it at AAC.
Not even at AAC. They didn't even have an O'Doul's.
Yeah.
Also ball games. I went to a baseball game and I was really pissed.
Yeah,
I can't get anything. Other than
they got gluten-free everything.
They got but they don't. It's an interesting place right now.
Right.
And so Andrea started she started an Instagram page. What's the Instagram page called? Remind me.
Dallas Zero Proof.
Dallas Zero Proof. And she started that back in, what was it, August or September, right?
Yeah, September.
And I kind of caught on to it. We've been friends for a long time. She was in bands back in the day, so we cross over in bands and bars and in the music business. Cool. But I started following her site, and she was out kind of going, this is where you can find a non-alcoholic cocktail here or here or here. And there's not a lot of choices. And I'm not going to speak for you, but it was inspiring for me to see someone out there that was also on this path.
Well, so you're a moderate drinker, or what would you say?
Yeah, I went through a reset, I guess, because I quit for 6 months.
Yeah.
And kind of what led up to that was in November of 2019, my mother-in-law got very ill, and she passed away right before the pandemic, the end of February 2020. So she passed away, and from the time she was ill, my wife and I just kind of started drinking pretty much on the daily. And we were telling ourselves like, oh, it's within reason. It's only a couple drinks a day.
Sure.
But, then the pandemic, everyone was out of control.
Right.
So it was probably a little more out of hand than we were ready to admit. And so, there was a trip to New Orleans that I don't really want to recount. Thankfully, my wife was had enough wits about herself to get us Ubered back to the Airbnb and to the airport the next morning because I was not capable of that. I was passed out.
Andrea's not here. She's checked out. Everybody,
I would have just been in New Orleans for another couple days.
The comedian when he goes, before you black out, your brain taps you on the shoulder and goes, "I got it from here."
That was not pretty. So, so then around, that was in the spring and summer. And then, so in July, I was like, that's it. So July 2022. And so I was like, I need a break. I have to break this pattern that we had started, and it was really, my wife and I would sort of enable each other. But out of the two of us, I was the one that really needed to change my ways because she could adapt. So
she was a norm.
She was a norm.
She was a normie. She could handle it.
So I stopped, and then since I guess the new year, or since January, I guess I've just maybe a handful of and I never not one hangover since then.
That's a good thing.
It's just like every now and then,
right?
I'll just every now and then I'll have a glass of wine with dinner or something, but it's not at all what it used to be.
Gotcha. Well, don't you also own a coffee shop as well, or
my wife manages a coffee shop? She works for a restaurant company. She's a partner as well. She's working right now.
Partner Jenny, she's awesome. So I've got my three.
Tell us all about it, and tell us the location, and then kind of what people can expect and all that good stuff.
So we are in downtown Richardson. It's called the Core District. Been rebranded. We've got a 1958 MCM mid-century modern building with breeze blocks, breeze soleil, very fancy. But it was this cool building we found. We had looked around. We looked over in East Dallas. We had looked in different parts of the city.
And it's basically off of 75 Beltline right there.
75,
right. What they used to call downtown Richardson now.
So if you know where the Alamo Draft House is on the one side, it's on the opposite side.
Right.
So the police station is right there. It's in downtown. They've got some hookah bars and everything. But it's being rebranded, rebuilt. We had looked at East Dallas. We had been doing a lot of parties. So we started doing pop-ups in January, and they have been really, our sales have been great. People have been showing up. We got so much encouragement that we signed a lease. I was just thinking that 2.5 months after we did our first event, and it was just like, we need to do this. People need this. I need this. We need this. It's something that.
Well, I think the community needs it. I think it's it's an asset to the community that it doesn't want to be around that environment, but still wants to kind of feel like their old self,
and
stuff like that.
And that's kind of, we're working on that. We're working with some other pretty big vendors out there and some other to help them with their cocktail programs, because I think as we move forward, there's a lot of space in the bar world, in restaurant world, to introduce more non-alcoholic cocktails and not just a juice mixer. What do they give you when you ask for something? You get
They give me a water.
You get your water,
and I squirt my own Mio.
You squirt your Mio,
right.
And that's your elixir. But so for everybody, I think we all have our own pathways, and that really helped me kind of integrate back into the world. And and I can still kind of be a part of society. I can have something in my hand. I still like the mouthfeel. I like to have a good cocktail. I'd like to have a good, whatever it is.
No, and I think what you're doing here, it also allows you to be a connoisseur.
Sure.
And that is a big part, I think, of your identity.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I love music. I like the idea, but I think all of us are like that. And we all have an aligned spirit there that we want to, we like the better things. We want to enjoy our lives.
Right.
And we want to have fun. And I think a lot of the recovery parts, it doesn't always, and I'm not saying it's all fun, and it shouldn't be, but I do think that if people could actually have more fun and they could find some things that were familiar to them and they can get back to their lifestyle.
Oh, yeah.
Cut out the bad habits, but you can still go out and enjoy a show. You can still go see Kelly Reverb at a party.
Right.
You can still go to an event. You can still go see a show. You can go to a sports game.
Yeah.
Go to the sports ball.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Whatever that is.
Well, and so what are your hours of operation going to be?
Well, we're looking right now probably 11 to 7-ish, and then we're going to definitely do some special events and some evening things. I don't want to say the word happy hour. I don't really like,
right,
because
the stigma,
the stigma behind it. But I do think we're going to have some mindful evenings. We can come in and try some different things. We're going to be a lot about education.
Okay.
A lot about kind of like helping people, because this is a new world. I mean, the whole non-alcoholic spirits thing is. It's already like a $9 billion industry.
I would think you would want to be like open regular bar hours on the weekend. Maybe.
Yeah, but I think one thing, I don't stay up as late now.
I'm gonna start coming to the door and knocking on.
We will be open later, I would say, on Fridays and Saturdays. A little bit later, and we're gonna have some special
and
events.
And y'all just play
things.
It by ear. And
sure. Yeah. But I mean, I imagine we'll be open more like noon to 8 on Friday and Saturday. But I mean, we'll have special events and different things like that. But it's really just about a sense of community too, because there's a lot of stigma if you're out and you're not drinking, and you can feel kind of alienated. I'm more of a mindful drinker myself right now, but we just want to be able to give people that chance to feel part of something positive.
Yeah.
And to have that camaraderie.
Well, and basically kind of a safe space.
Yes.
Exactly.
So to speak.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking at all these delicious bottles. They do well on the marketing. I like it. Yeah. So are we going to maybe have Andrea pour some samples for us?
Sure.
Yeah. What are we going to hit first?
You want to try Starla, since we already have it kind of corked right there?
Sure.
And this is
sparkling rosé that's Dallas based.
Oh, okay.
They use California grapes.
Okay.
California.
So it's California semi-based. And so this is like what somebody would have instead of like a wine or...
Correct.
Okay.
Well, it is wine. It's de-alcoholized wine.
Is that a word? De-alcoholized. I like it.
So I will not fail a breathalyzer.
You will not fail. Absolutely
That's
not.
right.
That's pretty cool.
Well,
I've done it before.
Salud. Let's try it.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's good. It's good.
Well, that fucking tastes like wine. That's for sure.
Right. Yeah. Well, no, I get that kind of like a bubbles feel, like you would if you were at a French restaurant.
I used to convince people I convinced this one girl one time when I was a waiter at a restaurant. I was like, did you know they pronounce it Champagne in France? So she went out to the table and she was like, hey, would you guys like some Champagne? And they were like, what?
It's from the Champagnat reason.
Yeah, it was fantastic.
Yeah, so, some of these things have some familiar flavors to them.
No. I mean, I can tell, that definitely was reminiscent of, some type of, like I said, bubbles that they would serve.
Sure.
But I mean, that was never my gig. My gig was straight vodka. So,
oh, right. So you weren't about the flavor. You were never about the flavor. But,
no, I was about
the way it made me feel.
Yeah, I was about the disassociation that it created.
A little bit of that.
Right. Yeah.
But so this is the cool thing is that we're all food pairing. So if you miss there's a lot of things that began. Some of this stuff doesn't taste good with food. All of this stuff does, but. The normal. I don't know how a Mio and water would taste with a really nice steak. I don't know.
Probably not good.
You probably eat half of it and then your eyes start twitching.
Right.
I'm gonna take this home and microwave it.
Right. That's right, man.
Eat it caveman style in front of the refrigerator.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you're still up at 4 a.m. because you drank half a bottle of Mio.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
So then there's like I don't know what else you got over there.
Optimist Bright is based out of California.
Okay.
This is a botanical.
Okay.
And so it has a little bit of a vodka feel.
Doesn't taste like vodka
and
to me at all, though.
it's delightful.
Right,
It's
and
delightful.
then it'll be like Kelly was found in the gutter after the show.
No, absolutely
No,
not.
No,
No.
I'm just kidding.
No.
Let's see.
Can I have a little whiff of that too?
Do you want?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, why not? Well, while we're all relapsing.
Shit, while
on
we're at the party.
Yeah, right.
Well, what's kind of cool about this brand is they're based in California, and they have 4 different lines that are all based on the different regions of California and the feel of California. So
That really doesn't taste like anything to
No,
me.
that just tastes like
it's its own thing.
fancy water.
Yeah,
That
fancy
tastes like
water.
really fancy botanical water or something.
Well,
Well,
like
you'd mix it.
when they were doing
When you
like
put it in a
that's
mixer,
cool.
Well, I
there's
was
still-
gonna say when they were doing the the different flavored infused vodkas. That's kind of what it reminds me of. And if I actually had maybe like
I'm over here expecting ethanol.
maybe like a soda,
Yes.
Like soda water with that combined with the lime. I would feel like I'm drinking a highball.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's kind of the point. I
Yeah.
mean, but it can be mixed well. So that is, what are we having here now? That is a
it's
beer.
groovy golden.
groovy golden.
There's all kinds of good stuff.
My mouth tastes like I imagine I would smell after coming out of a fancy massage parlor.
Ooh.
You know what I mean? With like lavender and all that stuff.
Sure.
Like, man, you just having a day. That's what my mouth
And that's
tastes
what
like.
that's what I
right
like
now.
about
That's
a lot of
awesome.
stuff. It doesn't necessarily taste like anything you've had before. A lot
Sure.
of these spirits are just they're their own thing, and I think that's important for people to know.
But
that,
they are
you know,
distilled.
They
in
are
the-
distilled. Yeah.
Right. Well, that
Traditional
that
sense.
definitely had this reminded
There's
me the
your
most
flavor.
of alcohol.
Yeah.
Right here. That
Yeah,
one.
these near beers are very convincing.
Yeah. Yeah. No. It really is.
Yeah.
But
And that might not be for everybody.
sure.
So, and if,
that might be a little too close to home.
It
and,
might be.
Yeah.
And if that is,
Yeah.
I'm going to be very clear about that when I talk to people. We've actually been, so many people from the wellness community have reached out to us. And they're really excited about this coming to town.
Yeah.
But, I want to be very clear about that if you don't feel like this is a place for you to be right now, and if your counselor. Or
Yeah, if this is going to trigger you, then
Absolutely.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
but it is cool, I think, to have an alternate to
Right.
where you're, because you and I,
Right.
we grew up in this, and
Right.
and this is part of our identity, I guess.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's an interesting thing watching Gen Z and the younger millennials. There's a much more mindful community out there of people who do not really want to drink. I see that, especially with Generation Z, the older ones that are coming into college now. This is kind of uncool. I mean, drinking and smoking and all that, it's just uncool.
Now it's cool to do street fentanyl.
Right.
Shit.
All right.
That's the thing.
I must have missed that.
right?
Because everybody I knew, dude, it was just turbo.
Wow. Yeah. It's stuff. Okay.
Well,
Oh,
if
what
you
is
don't
that?
if you don't want to have the alcohol taste, but you'd like to have kind of a pleasant feeling, Hi-Yo has adaptogens. Now this is the mango peach flavor.
Okay.
That is cool.
And I love this stuff. This is of everything that we had, this is my personal favorite because I used to be kind of a wine drinker. Let's say, I'm going to have my dinner and a glass of wine to wind down. This is what I used to wind down now. I love it.
This is cool.
Andrea, tell us what's in this. How does that work?
Yeah, so there's
It's got opioids, and it's derived from the poppy seed. And,
nothing
no.
exactly psychoactive or anything,
Right.
but it has organic adaptogens, natural nootropics, and functional botanicals. So
That sounds fancy.
good for you stuff like the lion's mane, mushroom, turmeric, which is like
I think it has
good for anti-inflammatory.
ashwagandha, doesn't it?
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Green
not a-
tea extract.
Not a lot of sugar. You get like it's good for it's good for the lion's mane. It's good for
Right.
virility.
Well, and so this is like, will you have all of these at the establishment?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, for
and
sure.
and then I mean, basically, as far as the business model, I'm assuming it's going to be from bottle sales,
Bottle sales,
and then maybe bites.
we're gonna do some bites. Like we just met with La Casita Bakery. They're a James Beard award-winning bakery.
Yeah, you sent me something.
Yeah,
on
they're
that,
in
so-
Richardson too. So we're going to do like some cool pairings with some pastries. We're going to do maybe some dinner things. But we have a really cool event coming up at UTD. It's a student only. It's not like an event we can talk about, but it's
It's for the AIGA.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so we're doing that on Friday.
What is the AIGA?
It's the American Institute of Graphic Artists.
Okay.
So this is for students. There are like 500 students there.
That would absolutely like UTD would absolutely be part of a target market for you guys.
Absolutely.
Because this is like intelligent.
Right.
Intelligence meets like sophistication meets like
hipster.
Yeah.
A little bit hipster.
Well, you know what? But you don't want to meets not getting shit faced. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
That's,
you know, here's the thing.
I'm sorry.
And it might be a nice alternate to Starbucks.
Yeah. Right. But also for the Nada IPA. Like the IPA, that's community. Pop that one real fast while you got it out there. That's really good to mow the lawn to, and I still like to mow the lawn.
The lawn beer, dude.
The lawn beer.
The Falstaff 96, dude, or the Natty Light.
Yeah, they actually do have pretty much a Natty Light. What's it called?
Pen's Best.
Pen's Best.
That sounds like a Natty Light,
and
right
it
there,
tastes
for sure.
just like But that's Can I have one of those?
Am I gonna move to Colorado after I drink this?
Yes, you are. And you're gonna get a bun up there.
Yeah,
man bun.
Man bun.
Man bun.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
that's super IPA.
Yeah, this is all very
Feels sophisticated.
Yeah. No, it's cool, and it's amazing that it's non-alcoholic.
It is.
That's wild.
Yeah.
It really changes everything for a lot of people. I think you don't have to be isolated from the world. You can still have something. You can still enjoy a crowd.
Right.
But people have to carry this though too. So we're on a mission to be an educator as well, to help people out there get put this in your bars and restaurants. We'll help you. But I want this to be like something.
Are you trying to also get into the distribution side of things?
We're working a little bit towards that. Yeah,
okay.
Absolutely. And I don't think this is going to be. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a slow road. Our rents. We got a great deal on our rent. We have a cool space.
Right.
So
well, I think it would be a good fit for Phoenix, Phoenix, and because they do a ton of events. Like a puzzle night or whatever and stuff like that. Fun activities that are non-physical. That I think it would be a great spot. Oh well, let's meet here.
That tastes so close. I swear to you, I could fail a breathalyzer right now.
You will not. I've tried it.
That is fantastic.
Yeah.
Good thing I don't like the way any alcohol tastes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is reminiscent of those times where I was like, now I'm going to shotgun this thing so I don't have to, you know what I'm saying? But some of the others, because that tastes shockingly
hoppy.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's community. So they're local as well.
Oh, that's cool.
There's a regional thing here. And we also have Texas and Austin. That's really amazing. We actually did an event. We were at Sands Bar with Chris Marshall, who has one of the first non-alcoholic bars in the country. He did a little tour.
Where is that?
It's in Austin, Texas.
Oh, okay.
And they do a Friday night event, but he's really kind of started some of this motion in Texas a ways back. And we were there on Saturday night hanging out with him and got to talk about some of this. We're actually right in the building, two buildings over in that blue 1958 mid-century building.
I love it, and I love the fact that you keep on bringing up the MCM, dude, because I love MCM, and that building is so cool. Just the architecture that you're in, and it's got the groovy textures, like the volcano rock, and there used to be something there.
Every time I think of MCM, I just think of Man Crush Monday, which is what that used to be on Instagram.
I don't know it.
It was a hashtag MC. Don't ask me how.
Well, I know you had someone had Man Crush.
Yeah. Mine was on TJ Kelly Deaver.
That's right, dude. But that was on Eggplant Tuesday, right?
So I know we got to roll here, but I want to get back to you for a second. Richardson. So you went to Berkner High School, correct?
I did.
And you ran the streets there in Richardson when you were
ran the streets, dude.
So
the Atomic Punk.
The Atomic Punk. So you worked at Bill's Records for a while.
I did.
That's actually when I first remember seeing you at Bill's Records.
Okay.
Yeah. And so that was in the late 80s, early 90s, right?
Yeah, sometime. I mean, Bill had a tendency to hire young boys, and I think I was probably 17 or 18.
Right.
But it was definitely one of those, because there's only really a handful of people that really worked there for a long, extended period of time, and it was definitely a cool to have that perspective growing up and to be around all that much music and that much culture, and I mean that really kind of drove me into what I do today.
Absolutely. with me for had some mentors through this process. Cardy Talkington, who's a guitar player and musician. He also was a film director. He did 11 to 45. I've spent a lot of time talking with him. He went through this a long time ago. He had like a lot of different habits, but he's clean and sober. So I've had some different mentors and people that I could look to. Even people like looking at like Iggy Pop. Like he's still alive because he stopped.
Right. Yeah.
And this feels a little punk rock to me.
Sure.
And Andrea and some of my other friends who have been through this, I feel like. Yeah,
it's funny that once you decide to make the move, that there's this entire community out there, and it's like this whole secret handshake, kind of thing. And I'm like, wow, dude, if I would have known about this, I would have looked forward to it more. You
feel like you got some time back.
Yeah. Yeah,
you got some years back. You earned some of the stuff back you lost.
Right. Well, and you definitely have the energy and the mental capacity to pursue what you were pursuing in your drunken stupor.
Right. And I think with talking about the isolation and stuff like that, everybody's like worried about going out and doing shit because they've been told to worry about it. You know what I'm saying? Or they know themselves and they're like, oh shit, I don't want to do that. I can't be near it, blah blah blah. Well, this, like, seeing people have a good time and seeing people just like unafraid to be themselves and go out and stuff like that when they're sober, like it becomes tangible to the other people, because that's what they really need, because they're like, oh, that guy's miserable. They're just looking for one excuse, you know what I'm saying, after another. Just like AA and shit. You hear that guy that's like, oh, I was sober for 20 something years and then I missed a meeting and then I relapsed and blah blah blah. Our minds are constantly looking for that one reason to like discount sobriety and turn it back into a weakness, when it's like, I don't know, dude, it's legit. Like I tend to have a good time everywhere I go now.
Well,
that brings like, this would bring in like the whole other atmosphere to that, because this is so, I don't know, you got music, you got drinks, you know what I'm saying? Like, and you don't have to fucking drink a bunch to start acting like a jackass. Right. You don't got to worry about getting thrown out. You can have the same fun, if not more.
I'm wildly inappropriate all the time.
Right.
They can tell
right. Yeah.
And honestly,
and that's the thing. Like, a lot of times, like, people will say that, oh, well, if I don't drink anymore, I'm going to lose my edge. And I'm like, dude, I have it, 8 times fold.
That edge is dull as fuck anyways when you're drinking like that.
Yeah. But no, but you think, it's something that you fooled yourself just because you're in that chill zone, and I don't give a F. And,
earlier we were mentioning, like, were you better at DJing or whatever? The answer is no. I was in a band, and like, I've forgotten lyrics on stage. Like,
oh yeah,
no, you're not better. You're
You're
desensitized, and
Right, I got it.
The Happy Bullets. Love you guys.
Oh, was that the band?
Yeah.
I always love to hear. So did y'all have hold on, how old is the band? Did y'all have a CD out?
We had 3 out.
Okay, so CDs.
Yeah, the third one was vinyl. But
did you have a cassette out?
No, we didn't have
Okay. So I was doing the window without asking.
Gotcha.
Without asking you how old you are.
Yeah, we were. We started in like 2003, 2004.
Okay.
And went about almost 10 years.
Oh, cool. Right on. Yeah, I haven't really repped in the local scene as much as I'd like to. I need to get, because it used to be so much fun to go down to Deep Ellum and Theater Gallery and see all this crazy stuff. But
and I know we got to wrap this up in a minute. But thinking of Theater Gallery and thinking of we have Mr. Jeff Lyles, who runs
Kessler,
the Kessler, and now they have their beautiful new venue. He's never drank. He's always been like.
Well, he's a Dr. Pepper,
he's
and then
Dr. Pepper guy.
He likes some smoky smoke.
Sure,
but,
but he's always been been in control, and I've always looked up to him as a person.
Right. I would send him like little memes of Dr. Pepper in a syringe.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
But totally good dude, and you are as well. I mean, you're kind of a don't sell yourself short. You are a legend here in Dallas.
Well, thank you.
Amongst the avant-garde, I would say.
Yeah,
Yes.
we've been having a good time for a long time. Now we're changing the tune, and I feel great. We all feel better now. I feel like it's interesting how much better you feel and how much more capable
Yeah.
Because, through all these things, doing events.
Well, you're making a lot clearer decisions.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Sure.
Much better decisions, and I think more timely and more.
Right. Let's give them the information on when the place is opening and the address.
Sure. Well, we are planning to open kind of towards the end of April.
Okay.
We'll be announcing that online.
Okay.
I think the 22nd-ish, if not the following
on
weekend.
my birthday.
We're getting close.
Nice.
We're getting very close.
Okay.
And it's Beyond the Bar is what we're called, Beyond the Bar Bottle Shop, and you can follow us on Facebook, on Instagram.
Okay.
And we're over on Sherman Street, right off of Beltline, which turns into Main and 75.
Okay.
So we're pretty centrally located, whether you're in Plano or
it's a good. Richardson has turned out into be like a good, like happy medium for everybody.
It is.
It really is.
You've got the Chinatown there.
Yeah, for sure.
Somebody just got an Amber Alert.
Right? Somebody got an Amber Alert. Not me. I hope not me.
Should I call it out or not?
No. You're fine.
All right.
It's not live.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, that's right. We're not live. That's right. Yeah.
It's not gonna. It's a silver alert, and it was 3 weeks ago.
It's a silver alert for
You see
us.
a 1962 Volkswagen Beetle.
Right. Well, but and then I always like to give the guest, if y'all like to, go down the line and give anybody a shout out.
I think I already kind of did give some shout outs there. Actually, it's interesting enough. I heard from Trey Johnson's mom today. She called me. She's a recovery expert. Her Trey Johnson was her son. He was in a wonderful guitar player, a friend of mine. He ran State Fair Records. He passed away last year. Not a substance or anything, but he had a heart attack. She called me this morning, though, and about 10:30, and I got a call from her, and she said, "I'm so proud of what you're doing. I know Trey would love it. I'm so excited for you."
Right.
And it was really nice. I've been getting,
It's cool to get that feedback, and you're like, "Wow, I didn't even realize I was putting that out there."
Mom's 82. I've known her for a long time, but I really looked up to him. He was the person that I, thought dearly of, and he always thought well of me, and was a mentor of sorts. So it was nice to hear from his mom this morning, out of the blue. I haven't talked to her since his funeral last year. So,
that's good. Well, you're out there doing, being a good influence and showing people another way. Another possibility.
Awesome.
But I thank y'all for coming out, and I'll definitely come and see, I'll try to get there for the grand opening.
Absolutely.
Yeah, please do.
Yeah. And thanks for coming out. And Chadwick, thank you as always for running the board.
For sure.
Good, sir. And now I'm like, it's weird, man. I'm like, oh, wow. All that stuff was really close.
It
dude.
was.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is it too close?
No. I mean, I think I'm okay with it. Because I was never really, it was more about the effect of it than the taste.
Dude, the stuff always tasted like shit to me. You know what I mean? It was just like, I like
about
that.
the effect.
Yes,
Right.
100%.
So you'd be more of a fan of the Hayo then.
Hey, can you
Yeah,
guys do
that stuff was really good. What about the mule?
Oh.
I want to try it out. We're just going to start shotgunning
This
things
is by
here at the end of the
by
show.
Crisp and Crude.
It doesn't
And
taste
It sounds just like what I've been told
and it's
about my
called
personality.
the Mellow Mule, and it's based out of Austin.
There you go.
Yeah, because if there's one thing that would be great, it'd be a Moscow Mule.
I really
I
one's
did
really
like
good.
a Moscow
I
Mule.
do feel like you two could do like a delicious dish show though with this,
I think we probably could.
Right?
That would be great.
Well, anyway, but I can't wait to come and check out the vibe and the new concept to Dallas, at least, you know.
Yeah,
I think it's awesome that you're bringing that here, and I applaud you for it.
Thank you, my friend.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for having
Great
me.
to
Yeah, well, I appreciate you guys coming on and taking time out of your busy schedule.
Thanks to this pink cloud. This pink cloud.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
ThisPinkCloud.com. And we're on all other major streaming platforms. So if anybody wants to subscribe, please do so. But anyway, thanks for listening. Next week, we have my good friend Andrew Blanchard, a.k.a. Falcone. He is a house producer and a member of CA and awesome dude. So looking forward to that next week. But remember, kids, there is no magic pill for sobriety, because if there was, we would all take too many.
Drop a bomb now.